Hey guys, welcome. This is the Passion for Purpose show. We are live on Facebook and to your YouTube channel now. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is V. Fournier, and I have the pleasure of introducing Mr. Thom Pulliam, who is actually a brand cultural strategist and the founder of the Unicorn Talent Club.
Hey V, thanks for having me here.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. I know you and I, we've known each other through actually mastering transformational training. We'll get into that later, but it's an emotional intelligence training, essentially. So him and we really clicked because, he's just an awesome, awesome person. And we obviously discussed kind of like what you do. And it's always just been an interest of mine because what I love, and I'm very passionate about different passions. That's why we do Tribe Unity. But I'm so interested in what you do because it's something that I just, don't know anything about, which is like the analytics and the branding part of, marketing and business. So tell me more about kind of like how your career started or what exactly you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started learning about advertising in undergrad and actually got my degree in advertising. And through that process, I was really fascinated by not just the history of advertising and sort of making connections between what people want and the products and services out there and sort of putting those together, and being able to do that in a really creative way. Some of the things I most loved about advertising were guerrilla stunts, city campaigns, different experiential stunts that brands will put on and use to really generate a fandom and cult following for their product. So I was super fascinated in that and decided that with my analytical brain, I would be better suited as a strategic planner rather than a copywriter. So I pursued that path, worked in New York, Dallas, Richmond. I've been here in Los Angeles for the past 6 years now. And through that process, my role was really working with designers and writers together, but thinking about the product, the message, and how to communicate that to the specific audience before the creatives actually started on the work. So I would be the one conducting focus groups, in-depth interviews, quantitative research, figuring out what trends are happening in culture, how to apply that to actually really spark intrigue and interest within consumers, and then package that into a really simple directive that then I can communicate to the writers, the designers, the art folks, and start concepting together what a solution for the problem could be. So I've loved doing that, have worked with so many creative folks, and I've actually been freelance now for the past 4 years.
Awesome.
Doing this.
Awesome. So, okay, so he just gave us a whole bunch of information. Like I said, that's why I'm so interested because I love to learn. So let's just kind of back up a little bit. You were talking about the different things that you can that you do in regards to strategizing the branding, and you mentioned something like it was guerrilla marketing. What else? It was 3 different ones.
City campaigns and experiential.
Okay, so can you just go a little bit into that, just so?
Yeah, so those are just 3 tactics when it comes to developing what we call in the industry brand actions or brand behaviors, which really illustrate the values that stand behind a brand and help position it in the market in the right way, so a person, a consumer, will think about it in a particular way. There's way more than that. Of course, there's TV campaigns. There's print, there's out of home, there's radio, there's new product innovation, there's so much. But on those particular topics that I mentioned, guerrilla marketing, those are really activations that happen in the wild. So street postings, flash mobs, viral content, things that sort of disrupt the ordinary environment and gets you to, think about something differently or takes your attention away to entertain you. So that's what guerrilla marketing is. Experiential is similar. However, experiential can also be digital, which means microsites, online communities, digital games, a lot of the things you see brands doing now where you can do a lot of personalization and customization, such as with your shoes. That's experiential. And then the city attacks are really, they're actually done more in Europe because the cities are so much smaller, but it's all about creating like your brand presence scattered throughout the city. So some examples of this would be several years ago, IKEA did a really fun city attack in Berlin, I think, where they actually gamified all of the sort of recreational environment within a city. So going up or down the stairs in the metro, it actually played like a keyboard in different musical tunes. There was a special sort of game that they rigged up with recycling bins, where when people would throw away or recycle their items, it would have a special sort of meaning or game element to that. And they had so many other executions. That's just one example of a brand doing that sort of work. But I love the juxtaposition and really culture jamming of putting a brand or a piece of content in a wild environment that people aren't expecting,
right, and
those sort of authentic, genuine interactions that pop up from that. There's other instances of this, like in the U.S., Honest Tea, which is a obviously a beverage company here. Yeah, they do a experiment every year where they go to different cities in the U.S. and they actually have all their product set out on the street for free. They don't have anyone sort of watching it or a cashier there. And they do a social experiment where they see how honest or trustworthy are people in different cities. So they put, a bin out there, of course, put your money in for the tea that you take, and they have cameras hooked up, and they analyze this data and then have a report at the end of the year along with tons of viral marketing and, the really rich brand experience that a consumer on site actually taking the tea would have in that moment. And they package all of that together into, really nice marketing that speaks to what their brand is about and sort of activating that message within their consumer group.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, I don't even think most of us realize or notice how much is actually being advertised out there. I mean, he was just talking about going up and down the stairs and it's like a piano. I would actually have fun with that, not realizing like it's trying to advertise something.
Yeah,
So.
And those examples are old actually. So nowadays, we encounter over 50,000 ad messages in a day.
Yeah.
And now there's so much data tracking that's happening as well. They have technology in the metro in Sao Paulo actually now that will record the demographics of the person viewing the interactive ad there. So they can capture, if you're a male or female, your age, your ethnicity, and then they map that across all sorts of other sorts of data to sort of present to you what you would most like to see. And that's something else in the industry called programmatic media, which is all about pairing the right message with the right person. So advertising, of course, is such a huge thing. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Right. So pretty much
there's so many elements to it, but my role as a strategic planner is to understand the brand, understand the audience they're trying to connect to or talk to, and connect those in the most relevant way. Okay.
So before we get into the purpose part of your passions, I do want to give some of these folks kind of, like some nuggets from you're so seasoned in regards to branding. So I'm sure some of them would like to know kind of what they can do. A lot of our following are, influencers, artists, musicians, people that are just trying to brand themselves or sell themselves as a product. So what tidbits or, advice can you give somebody to, expand their brand?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked. And I've actually had some experience working with top-level creatives with really developing their brand as applied to a specific business they're in. So, for instance, I've worked with Joseph Aboud, who is a multiple-time winning menswear designer who has custom men's suits that he produces and high-end wear. Blake Lively, she had a retail store recently called Preserve. which I participated in the creation of that. And Frederick Vanderwall, who's a supermodel from the 80s, actually, she has a premium flower business where she makes these gorgeous bouquets and she'll ship them to you for $100 or more. And I worked with her on her brand as well. So I have a little bit of experience with this, and it all comes down to really translating the values and personality and story of the talent into their brand and connecting the two. So you want to go beyond being a spokesperson for what you're about, but actually live it and have your business or your product really be the reason to believe in who you are as a person. Because when someone's making a purchase into, what you're offering, they're really buying, who they perceive you to be. And that is inextricably linked to your end product.
Okay.
So being highly visible, of course, is key. Doing lots of collaborations, of course, is key. Being featured in other people's works. Having a really distinctive point of view. That's really what branding is all about, and why they hire people like me, strategists, to work on their stuff, is because a brand is nothing but a collection of thoughts. It's like a mental construct. And the purpose of a brand is to have a distinct point of view so that other people in the world will affiliate with that point of view and be attracted to it. So it sort of magnetizes the right audience into them. And it also, polarizes audiences who would not be right for them sort of out of the picture. So it's really important, don't try to appeal to everyone, of course. Be very specific. Know who your, raving fans are, who that key target audience is, and do everything to serve them. Because it's all about the extremes in marketing. And the point isn't to be necessarily like a mass product. It's to be beloved by a core group of people who will sustain you. A lot of modern branding practices today actually put the voice of the consumer, right in the sort of product development stage. For a lot of companies and brands, and even entertainment products. So we're seeing today things like, music being created collaboratively across long distances that is actually open for a wider audience to see and participate in. We're seeing open and closed online communities of influencers and just straight up customers who are really passionate about a brand or product and are supplying them with information about their personal usage of the product, what they like, what they don't like, what they would like to see coming down the pipeline in terms of innovation. And brands also use this, of course, to, identify fans to pull into their marketing. Or to, celebrate and elevate as sort of a torchbearer for, their movement as an artist or brand or whatever. And that's really what branding's all about today as well, is creating a movement.
Right.
A lot of people think branding is just the, look and feel and image and identity that you're putting forth. And that's really just table stakes. Like, you have to have that, and it has to be perfect in order to be considered legitimate and for people to not write you off the bat. But if you're doing more sophisticated marketing, you want to bring the consumer into the process, or your fans if you're an artist. Really work with dynamic feedback in that regard. Be active in asking your audience specific questions that will help you and guide you into making strategic decisions around your brand. And really hold sort of those core members sacred, because that's going to be your inner circle.
Right.
That they will evangelize out into more and more people, their friends and family,
Right.
etc.
Okay, so pretty much this is what I got from it. Recap, right? The things that you can do is, when it comes to putting out your brand, it's about, first of all, figuring out what your market is. being true to yourself and creating content so that way you can connect with people, with your audience, and then the audience then becomes essentially your tribe, right? So people that are following you, and these followers will then spread out, and that's how you kind of brand yourself, right?
Yeah, totally. So the elements are the same. Like, I'm using a lot of words, but the elements are the same for, brand building, new product development. If you're an artist building your tribe, it's exactly those elements of understanding who you are, your audience is, and then bringing them into the fold and collaborating with them. However, where they're on top of that, then you get to bring your authentic artistry and personality and essence to the show. And that's where all these sort of tactics or buzzwords or concepts that I'm describing other brands have done sort of come into play.
Right.
That's really, for me, the true creative work. There's a formula for the rest of it.
Wow, that's insane. It's crazy to find out that behind every passion there's multiple different passions, which is why I'm so about this whole uniting the tribes, right? We're all just different puzzle pieces, passionate about specific things or specific parts of a passion, and together we just kind of create the big picture. So speaking of the big picture, let's go ahead and get into your Unicorn Talent Club, which I feel like is kind of like, your actual passion and where you feel like you have purpose in. So what is Unicorn Talent Club?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad you asked about that, because it's really the way I'm starting to give back to, my community, people who've come before me, and those who will come after me. And it really sprung very recently after I realized, hey, I've been doing this freelance self-employed career for the past 4 years. How can I really create something that helps other people who might be in a full-time job right now, or doing other activities, to make their living, whether that's aligned to their creative work and craft or not, and how can I be supportive to them and actually build a mastermind, which is what Unicorn Talent Club is, of these people with diverse interests, skill sets, and real talent and experience, and help them leverage all those gifts so they can still earn a profit in their craft and actually do better than what they might have expected in like a full-time job, 40 plus hour a week sort of career, and be able to have enough free time without all the politics and business stuff that happens within organizations to really live their passions, whether that is having enough time to spend time with their family or their friends, or maybe someone is really passionate about ice skating, and that requires a significant time commitment, or any hobby they might have, or maybe they're an entrepreneur and interested in how they can leverage everything they know to create more businesses. And this is really a place for all those people to come together, learn how to work in the gig economy, which by 2020, in just 2 years, they say it's going to be the largest workforce in the U.S.
What is a gig economy? What is it?
Goes by the gig economy.
A gig economy.
Yeah,
okay,
so that's that makes up several different components of the new job force and the future of work. And the gig economy, it has to do with freelancers and contractors.
So entrepreneurs, essentially. Maybe?
It could be entrepreneurs. It could be a solopreneur. It also could be someone working for Uber or Postmates,
because
or
they're working
Fiverr.
for themselves, essentially.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
And there's a huge spectrum of types of gigs on the market. Since I've been freelance and work with high-end advertising and branding agencies, I fit in one specific spectrum of that, but there's a wide net, and there's room for growth throughout the entire spectrum, and people are actually leaving companies now to enter the gig economy and either have one job or multiple jobs to support themselves better, and have time flexibility, be their own boss, be responsible for creating their own career according to their dreams, and really living all the benefits of that within a support network, and one that I wish I would have had when I was first starting.
That's
So
awesome.
now I
Yeah.
get to leverage all of my learnings from the past 4 years, and the emotional fears and limiting beliefs and all the mindset stuff that you go through when you're first making a transition, and really create something that will just make it easy for people.
Okay. So essentially, and you kind of went on it a little bit, which is essentially aligning yourself to your passion, right? So we definitely believe that passion for purpose. I'm all about aligning ourselves. I personally listen to affirmations. I know when I first met you, you had crystals on and you like sit there and you do the kind of, what is it called? Like is it Kundalini? Am I
I
saying?
do Kundalini.
Okay, yeah. So obviously you're a spiritual person as well, which is why I was drawn to you as well. So do you bring this into essentially your mastermind group, which is the Unicorn Talent Club, right?
Yeah, a bit. So I'm definitely someone all for human empowerment, and there's so many aspects to that. So when I first started freelancing, that's also when I started learning about the metaphysical world and energy, and started working with meditations. That's actually one secret for a lot of jobs that I've gotten, is just meditating on it and calling it in, which has been super powerful for me. But there's so many elements that have to do with just empowering yourself, whether that's through your diet and physical activity. Myself, I've been vegan for the past 3 years. And so many elements, just experimenting with Eastern and Western traditions, especially being here in Los Angeles, there's so much offered. And there's been so many spiritual teachers from India also who have set up different spiritual teaching centers here, and there's a lot of different communities. So I've sort of taken the best of everything I've learned, along with my formal training in an ontological coaching program and a experiential training program, which we both did together, and sort of packaging all that together as something I can authentically offer to help others who were in my situation.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And, like I was saying from our last interview with Zoya, how important it is to actually have coaches in your life, because personally, I have a coach and even my coach has a coach, and so on and so forth. How important it is to have that sense of accountability, or that sense of somebody kind of watching your back and seeing from the outside in on how you can improve not only your life, but living your passion and becoming that successful entrepreneur that you want to become. So before we end this segment, I do want to tell you guys out there, Thom will be coming back here, and he will actually be having his own show on the Tribunity channel, and he will be discussing various things. So I just wanted to kind of introduce him myself first on, with myself on the passion for purpose. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that. But before we get off, I wanted to kind of do a last question. So earlier I discussed with Zoya what is, and just a recap from last time, I just want to say that it's so important for us to be our authentic, vulnerable self, and especially in front of, cameras, as when we're trying, like you said, branding our movements. It's so important for us to be authentic and to actually live through our experiences and share our experiences with people and what we learn from it, what our breakthroughs are, in order to essentially support our audience and self-reflecting as well, and kind of supporting them through whatever they're going through, because at the end of the day, we are all one. We are all human, and we go through the same frickin' thing. So my question is, this past week, what was your big breakthrough?
Yeah, so something I've been working on for a while, and it's been a part of my journey, is really cultivating safety within my physical body and also within my communication streams with others, my environment and habitat at home, and just really figuring out how all that can support me and what I'm up to, which sounds a lot easier than maybe it actually is. I had an experience this past week where I have these shoes that people often think are moon boots or something fun. Kids love them, old people love them. They have big springs on them. I run on Santa Monica Beach with them, and I get so much attention. And something I discovered about myself, and I'm really now applying this into a big breakthrough for me, is realizing how much joy I get out of being at the focal point and providing, entertainment and value and fun and discovery and newness to people. And that really sources me. So from that learning, I know I get to go away and, incorporate, kangooing and more stuff like that, that really feels, true to my joy, and, broadcast that on a bigger platform, whether that's, Santa Monica Beach and Venice Boardwalk, where there's thousands of people, or, elsewhere. So really just coming home to knowing and creating the safety within myself. So, even if I do get, a bad comment or a judgment or something like that, it's not going to affect me because I'm having fun.
Right.
So that's been huge for me.
Yeah, and that's super important. I'm just going to kind of go more into that. I mean, really, how important it is to actually listen to yourself and what makes you happy, because we have so many different kinds of human beings. We've been through so many different experiences. We like what we like, and whatever we like, it's universe or God-given, whatever you believe in. So definitely listen to that and just fuck what everybody says. Yes, I just cussed. And what? So with that said, we get to close this off. Go ahead and tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Thom Pulliam, Tom with an H. You can also join Unicorn Talent Club at unicorntalent.co. I'll see you there.
Awesome. And once again, my name is V Fournier. You can find me at The Real VFUNE, or obviously all over Tribe Unity. So whether it's Facebook or Instagram, I'm sure you guys are watching on one of those. So thank you so much for joining us. And once again, please live your passion for purpose.